what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Saturday. Can't believe I'm saying that already, right? The week just flew by. I looked up and it was Friday, and I couldn't believe it. But I'm grateful for a peaceful Saturday today. One that looks like it's about to get rainy, but still peaceful, no doubt, nonetheless. Just cutting the cards a bit. Hope you're doing well and having some fun indoors or outdoors today, whatever your pleasure. All right, let's see what we got today. Thank you, Spirit, for a clear, concise message. That seemed like a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. It was like 6 cards. And again, can I just get a few to start? At least 1 or 2 to start. We don't want a lot to say today, perhaps. Okay, perhaps. So, 9 of Cups and the Moon card. Some secrets, some deep emotions. 9 of Cups can be wish fulfillment. With the Moon card, though, there's something covert about it. And it could also even be on the darker side of things, some overindulgence by way of the 9 of Cups. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh, that's Jay, my favorite maintenance man. Everybody loves him. Maybe this is a good vibration with this 9 of Cups. He's my favorite. He's the community favorite because he does his job well. He's respectful. He's kind. He's dependable. That's definitely a wish fulfillment type of vibe. And a man, he's married, so it's nothing funny, no funny business whatsoever about it. And respectful in that regard too. You never catch him batting the eye inappropriately or making any innuendos. And anytime I ever called, that's a lot. I'm not taking it. I could take that's 4. Anytime I have 5, 6, dang it. I really didn't want to take that many, but we here now. Anytime I call, he's willing and available to serve how as best he can, and I appreciate that about him. All right, so I'm saying that because, as I said, the 9 of Cups is supposed to be like a wish fulfillment card. It could be a man that is a wish fulfillment, like someone that's like the ideal man, or it could be someone that is just emotionally and spiritually satisfied in some contented way. But the Moon card, though, is a question mark because what is secretive about that? Why is that something? Maybe I hear secret admirer. So maybe there is someone that is the ultimate ideal partner or wish fulfillment in partnership that has not been revealed yet. There could be that. But let's see where these cards go here. So we got this 10 of Wands, the 4 of Cups, the 4 of Swords, the 6 of Wands, the Hierophant, and the 5 of Swords. Got 2 5s and 2 4s on the board. Just a FYI. Hierophant's here, that's the major. All right, so someone, so we got the Ten of Wands, which is about laying some burden to rest, or the end of a cycle that has been tough and hard and burdensome. But then that goes into this card of Four of Cups, which can be a missed opportunity or rejection. Someone refusing to end a cycle and put something to rest. Or refusing to end a cycle and take some type of spiritual nourishment or vitalization here with the Four of Cups, or missing an opportunity to be refreshed by way of the Spirit, and is so then laid to rest, or on account of that refusal has been overcome by some mental exhaustion. Okay, so now the Nine of Cups is not looking so ideal anymore. And if that is the energy here, that maybe this is something that, oh, okay. So this is the front, got it. So this is the appearance of, oh, you hear that crowd? Damn. Shit now. This is the appearance of, wow, that was freaky, right? The appearance of someone that has it all together, that's doing well, that's spiritually fulfilled, that's, satisfied with his accomplishments, that is the ideal man, that is, like I said, just by all accounts, a dream man, ultimately. Even with the Moon card, that's the vibration that is given in a sense. But like I said, the Moon card adds a little bit of mystique and mystery to it, that there's something under the surface that, or behind the veil or behind the scenes, that is going unnoticed or unseen. And it's an emotional thing in this regard, that there's some deep-seated emotion behind this front. Literally, it's almost, now I'm seeing with those cups, it's like a curtain behind them. Like you can't see, I just heard a marionette, like he's being puppeted. He's being puppeted, but thinking that he's the puppeteer. That's what I hear. You hear the bird. That's what's happening. It's like he's the front man. Look, don't he even kind of look like Pinocchio? Oh shit, we got a liar. So oh man, wow. And that's what the burdens are with the Ten of Wands, because the burden on his back is the illusions that he's been projecting now being revealed. Like I said, like that veil is slipping, that curtain is parting, it's dropping, and you're starting to see, it's like the curtain is revealing these cups, like what's really going on behind the scenes, what all of his emotional traumas, or even manipulative tactics. Yeah, oh wow. So like I said, he was someone that thought he was the puppeteer, or is it the marionette? I don't know. Is the marionette the puppet or the person that pulls the strings? I don't know. But I'm even seeing strings in these curtains now. I'm seeing stuff in this card that I've never actually seen before. And I keep hearing now I'm hearing the Pinocchio song. I got no strings to hold me down, to make me fret or make me frown. They have strings, but you can see there are no strings on me. That was my favorite song in that movie, by the way. And also, what is the other key song in that movie? When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. Wish fulfillment, but that's not what's going on. So he was projecting himself to be a desirable man, but behind the scenes, he was a damn liar. Ultimately, all that singing to say, that's what it comes down to. That's the secret here that's being unveiled, or it is to be unveiled. And here we have the burden because he's been carrying this facade on for so long. Maybe he's tired of being on the string or tired of being puppeted, but he's also not willing to take the proper respite by way of spirit to put this energy to rest in the Four of Swords. There's something that keeps him on this string, that keeps him on the hook, keeps him putting on this show that ultimately is probably not even fooling anybody anymore. By the way that I'm saying it now, it's like that's probably also the burden that the act is really not acting no more. You know, people are really starting to see the real deal in some way, shape, or form. And it's almost like how Pinocchio was, like his nose just kept growing and growing every time he told a lie. And it's like every time he tries to pull, the wool over somebody's eyes or operate in the fashion that he's used to keep this curtain drawn, something exposes him every time, whether it be his nose or his circumstances, his situations, or just the energy. Yeah, because the emotion, the energy in which he's expressing himself is kind of telling on himself now. And people are just not buying. Look, it's like Six of Swords, like, yeah, I'm good on that. He's seeing people move on beyond him. And what I always like to point out in vibrations such as this is that the Six of Wands can be also someone leaving behind chaos, confusion, and conflict, which is the Five of Wands. You even see the Five Wands behind this individual who's moving forward. And perhaps he's seeing himself being stuck behind with energies that are not in a vital alignment, that perhaps are adding to his burden by way of this 10. And he's realizing that that's not where he's supposed to be, or at least that's not where he intended to be. He had a very, like I said, it's like the puppeteer becomes the puppet, literally. They got strings too back there. And some other people are moving ahead and he's not finding himself in that vibration for forward movement. And then we got the Hierophant card here. Let's see. Because see, the Hierophant can be positive or it can be restrictive. And with the Five of Swords here, I just don't feel a positive vibe on this with the Five of Swords, because this is like someone that wants to win at all costs, some type of, it's the aggravated assault. Wow, I never said that before about this card. It's the aggravated assault of conflict. So the Five of Wands that I'm speaking of, in which this person in this card is walking away from, or maybe he was trying to, and this is, ooh, I just heard some shit. That he would, and under the Moon card, so he's been trying to make some type of secret escape from this chaos and confusion that he's been connected to or roped into. But this is like the leader of this organization or type of this group, this whatever, whoever is orchestrated. This is like the Grand Master here. Do you know who he reminds me of? It is given. What was the guy's name on in Pinocchio that I don't even know his name. I wouldn't even. Geppetto was the father, right? But the guy's name, who was it, Bruno? I don't think his name was Bruno, but the one who ultimately was the one running the puppet show, the one that captured Pinocchio and, you know, mistreated him pretty much, like roped him in with all the other puppets and just exploited him pretty much, is what happened to Pinocchio, right? This is that guy. You know, see how all these are subservient to him. It's that organization of entertainment, let's say that, because what the Hierophant can be is establishments, structures, orders. It can definitely be of a religious or some type of spiritual nature, because with the moon card here is probably something dark or lower vibrational. Definitely secret society-esque, you know, all of those things in some regard. Whether it's fantastically so or just some, like, I'm hearing fraternity of sorts, you know, like where there is a common ground or an oath or commitment to whatever the creed of sorts is. And it could be for, I don't see any pentacles here, but we definitely got a lot. We got cup energy and we got wands. You know, so there's that spirit and power essence there, though, which can be a cocktail for disaster in a group such as this. But what's happening here is there's some outsmarting that's looking to be had. You know, someone's looking to kind of like outwit the system. Oh, okay, outwit the system and for escape purposes. But the issue is what from what I see here is that the Hierophant is in the midst of it. So either he's kind of pumping the brakes or I'm gonna have to pull some more cards because this is unclear to me. Because we got somebody, it's like he's looking like he's restful and, you know, maybe out for the count, but then he's up under this moon, again, under the facade, right? This is him as the puppet. This is him acting like, you know, everything's fine. He's just chilling. Nothing's going on here. He's not taking the spiritual rejuvenation. You know, he's staying connected to whatever this commitment is under this moon. But secretly, he's planning to slip away. But to me, it looks like that just as he's about to do so, or when he thinks he will, is when this leader here is like, see how his hand is up, is like he's in the way. The leader's in the way from him moving around ultimately, and either getting away or moving beyond this point of association. You know, it's like what I'm here. Oh, and I just heard it too here, which makes sense. It's like you live by the sword, you die by the sword, or blood in, blood out type of thing. You know, like you can't dismiss yourself from this order of operation without taking some loss, you know, meeting some defeat in some way, shape, or form. And he's trying to get out with a victory, like with all his senses intact. This is literally like moving forward with victory and success, but because of the way that he has invested himself into this order, it's virtually impossible for him to leave without, it's like you're gonna have to, like a gang, like you're gonna have to fight your way out type of situation. And I feel like it's more mentally than, even though he has wands and he's carrying the burden here with the 10 of wands, it's supposed to be the end of this cycle of whatever this is. But that's at the top of the spread. Then it comes back down to the 6, which the difference between that is a 4 of wands. So he's trying to find his way back to stability, to some peace and comfort and, you know, somewhere, some stable ground, because what he's been under, like he's been exploited ultimately, it seems to be. But again, of his own admission and his own contribution for sure, because he also thought that he was an exploiter, as I said. He thought he was the puppet, but he didn't realize that he thought he was the puppeteer, but he didn't realize he was actually a puppet in whatever this operation is. And perhaps he was always being propped up as some sideshow or some main attraction, unbeknownst to him, when he thought that he was actually one of the head men in charge. But it seems like there's some resistance here. Like I said, what did I say it was? I forget the term that I just used. Aggravated assault. That's what I hear with this Five of Swords. Because the Five of Wands is like fighting, arguing, competition, a little bit of chaos, confusion. It could even not be that serious, but just people, pretty much having like ego, what do you call it? Like ego trips, and when everybody's just trying to prove themselves to be bigger than the other by way of energy. The Five of Swords is when you're willing to do something about it, when you're willing to put some action in effect, regardless of the casualty or the consequence. Like this person is wanting to win, and maybe perhaps it's him, I don't know. But I get the sense that it's him feeling like he's willing to do anything to fight his way out of this situation. And perhaps he's on the other side of it, even having been stopped here. Maybe that's what it was, that he's had to fight. But the Five of Swords also implies that there's still something, like I said, there's still some defeat that's been met here. That even if he has found his way out of the loophole or the entanglement of this situation, he's still, it's given like a criminal activity is what I'm hearing. Like some underworkings of this organization that is not altogether, it's not divine, but it's structured, it's ordered. But with this Moon card on his other half, like it's something deep and perhaps sinister about it. And so perhaps he's found a way to outwit the opponents of his to some degree, but not without a great loss, because that's what the Five of Swords is. Like, first of all, if you're trying to fight fire with fire, you're most likely also going to get burned. That's way too many. So there's that. So it's like he may have justified intentions for wanting to release himself from this entanglement. However, his means and methods of doing so are also diabolical in some way. So let's see what else we got. Yeah, that was the Eight of Cups that tried to come out walking away from a long-term investment. Let's see what else we got. Oh, don't try to get secretive now. He like, don't give away my plot, my plan. Okay. Oh, there's a Chariot card. Yeah, it's like every time he thinks he's gotten forward an inch, something else comes to like knock him back a mile. That's the energy here. He released one burden, and then he's under distress or realizing he missed an opportunity. Like he just can't seem to get ahead. That's crazy how that came out. So it's like literally two warriors, and the Chariot is like a successful warrior, someone that has overcome some great feat or struggle or battle. And on the end of the Five of Swords, it would appear that perhaps he made it out of one battle alive and intact, perhaps even successfully, but then just as soon as he's out of that, here comes another enemy. It's like every turn even here, you know, drop that, then he's dealing with his own inner turmoil. He's trying to get some rest to move ahead. Then the head boss says, where you think you going? He figures a way out of that situation, gets a few steps forward. Here comes some other, and this is somebody that is not even as worthy of an opponent to the Chariot, you know, by way of the cards. This is somebody that's, you know, might even be probably not even really on his level in many regards, at least not mentally, you know, in that regard. It may even be someone that he thought he left behind in this battle here that regrouped and came back for more. You know, it could be that too. But it's still yet another hurdle, another obstacle that he has to face when ultimately he just wants to get to some place of peace and rest and stability, you know, but life is catching up with him in regards to what the energy that he's expelled, like just being guilty by association. I'm feeling. All right, so we got the Lover's card. Oh, and look, this is the energy that he's after. You know, this now he wants to choose his highest self and truth and all that good stuff. But what's in the way? Yet another battle. You know, like he can't get to it on account of this. And then here, like this is the 4 of Wands that I was saying that was a difference between the 10 and the 6. This is the ideal, but it's being lorded over, it seems to me, by. Let me get one more before I stand on that. But what I'm noticing here is that it's being lorded over by this boss. You know, this what do we want to call him? Like, I don't know. I forget the guy's name. I wish I could know, but because I would call him that. But whoever this figurehead is, you know, like consider. I said entertainment, right? So maybe it's the label head, you know, like, you know how it is when you're trying to get out of your contract with an entertainment, especially with labels, all of a sudden they start hitting you with all the things that they invested in you that you didn't know was actually something that you were paying for out of your like out of your artist budget or whatever. But it's because the contract has not been fulfilled, you ultimately are still in debt to that organization, to that label, to that executive. He's an executive of some sorts. This is a like some type of establishment or corporation of some regard is what it is. And you know, you would want to move on and have a happy life, and you know, get out of your contract and, you know, choose yourself, your highest self, and start living in your own divine truth. And just, you don't even have to have all the glitz and glam. You just want to live a normal, simple 4 of Wands life where everybody's happy, we're all balanced. We might not have, you know, an overflowing bank account, or maybe you do. It can be possible there too. But the main attraction here with the 4 of Wands is peace, harmony, and balance within your home, within your living space, within whatever establishment you are committing yourself to or investing yourself in. And the way that this top row is playing out, it's the very opposite of what he's acquired so far, what he's perhaps even contributed to and created so far. He wants to have something very different. But who is lording over that? But this boss here, there's still some debt owed to be able to have that, is what I'm feeling. But let's get one more. Let me get one more spare. No, that's too many. Yeah, that was the Page of Swords, though. Somebody always watching. Just when you think it's safe to live. Here comes somebody looking over your shoulder. That's too many. Just one, and then I'll take a few more. But I just want one good card just to finish this row. That was almost the devil. Good God. Okay. All right, the Hermit card. But you see it flipped over, flipped back. Because it's like him now wanting to, oh man, I heard that too. It's like him now wanting to answer to that inner light within him by way of ancestral guidance, maybe way showers, guides, ancestors of some intangible nature. It's like, help me, I want to be up right now, and the Lover's card here. I want to do the right thing. I just want a normal life. I don't want to finesse anybody or hurt anybody or get over on anybody for any fame. I don't have to have anything special. Just give me the simple. Like Virgo is like, well, it is masterful energy, but it's not a lot of fluff. Virgo energy, it's like cut and dry, down to the facts, figures, the bare bones. It's getting down to the nitty gritty. It's not like Leo energy, which is lights, camera, action. You know what I mean? Like that type of vibe. It's not that. It's simple. It's plain. It's the version. Down back to the basics is what he ultimately would like to do. Would like to return to, but you see how it turned over, but then it turned up, but then it turned over. And I think it's because of this debt that he's still entangled to. The way in which he tried to get out was not a way that ultimately holistically freed him. So there's still like a bit of I'm hearing a noose, but God forbid, but I'm seeing it around the ankle, not so much around the neck. But it's like there's still like an entrapment. Again, a string, a cord. Yeah, there's still some cords attached. So the way maybe perhaps the money that he's trying to roll over that he acquired from this lifestyle, now he wants to flip it over and do something prosperous and productive with it. Now have this honorable life and do the right thing and choose his higher self and be, answer to his inner calling and his divine nature and soul search and all that good stuff, like really get into himself. But it's like he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. And that's where these defeats keep popping up, because you can't carry that low vibrational energy over with you into some higher vibrational existence. It's like here, like this mixture here, trying to be a do-gooder, a stand-up guy, but under the surface, there's still something else that you're connected to. That doesn't work by way of the spirit. So it's like the spirit is available when you really want to if you really want to get down, you know what I mean? Like literally humble yourself to ultimately ascend is what it comes down to. But even see here, there's still some resistance to fully being engaged and saturated by the spirit. Because he knows that there's something that gets to be lost. And the Three of Cups almost did pop out. I saw it peek out. He's still afraid to completely detach from this lifestyle of indulgence in a way, which comes back to the Nine of Cups, but not it's like he's trying to bargain with the spirit is what I'm hearing. It's like, I'm not doing what I was doing. I got myself out of this. I don't hang with these people. I'm not doing this thing. I'm not spending my money on this. I'm not going to these places. He may even actually be by himself with the Hermit card here, literally trying to isolate or be in solitude in some regard, almost trying to prove, there it is, like trying to prove again, like present himself to be a changed man or in a willing posture to be changed, but still under the surface, there's still some attachments to this dark nature that he's not willing to altogether release, which is why he keeps meeting defeats, keeps meeting battles along his way to the very thing that it's like spirit is willing to illuminate the path directly to it right here. If you see from the Hermit card to the Four of Wands, it may cause for some backward motion though, which is not what this character wants to do. He wants to keep moving forward. He wants victory and success along the way. He don't want to take no losses. He don't want to lose no battles. He don't want to lose his his reputation. You know, he wants to still present himself to be in this upright position, having taken no hits, but you know, taking no losses, but gaining all the rewards. But you're still attached to the energy. If nothing else, there's still an attachment to the vibration of this lifestyle, perhaps even just as simply by way of how he so-called released himself in the first place. And then if it is true that on top of that, even though I don't see any pentacles here, so I don't know exactly what the attachment is, maybe it's to the mindset, because the sword energy is very prevalent to me with the Five of Swords, the Knight of Swords, which is still this like sense of entitlement, and the Ace of Swords, which would be, and also the Four of Swords. So yeah, there's a lot of sword energy here that maybe he's still incubating the mentality of this establishment, maybe perhaps even hoping to recreate it, but reform it in some way that maybe looks a little bit more divine than it looks demonic or diabolical. You know, like he has some I just heard demented mentality. That's what I heard, or dementia even. Damn. What the hell? Dementia. I don't get that in the sense of it being like the natural, what do you call it? Condition that one gets to when they're grown in age, and you know that condition of, I get it, is like I said, it's like he's stuck in another, oh wow, all these things are popping up and I don't even know how they truly align, but it's like he's stuck in another dimension in some regard. So maybe he's trying to live 1 foot in, 1 foot out of both, like 1 foot in that diabolical dimension and 1 foot into a divine dimension, like trying to carry over those diabolical tactics and ideals into a more divine, and activate them in a more divine way. But that's just not going to happen. That's why the Hierophant is like, hold up. That being in the essence of the God card, like, you not finna carry that BS over to here. Like, no, we're going to stop you at the door. And even perhaps for the diabolical creatures, like, you're not going to take all of our essence and our values and then go try to present yourself as some do-gooder with our money, with our, and again, it doesn't feel like it's money. It feels like somebody taking all the secrets of the secret society and starting their own society, but calling it something else, you know, calling it something divine, you know what I mean? Or even the fraternity, like I said, fraternity, taking all the inner secrets and all the knowledge of the fraternity and just shape-shifting it into something else, that, and putting a new name and a new color, a new attachment, a new mascot, a new whatever, and recruiting new people off of that vibration. But it really is the synergy of what you came from, that you denounced, but you're trying to recreate it in another way. It still has that same, you know, like that same residue on it. And that's why it's not being ordained in spirit and in truth to be successful or to move forward, because there almost has to be a complete renouncing or denouncing or whatever you call it. I think it's denouncing of the diabolical attachment, whatever it may be, however he was invested in it, before he can be reborn in some regard, or at least regenerated in a way that's going to be holistically prosperous and productive. You know, like he's just really trying to, like I said, have his cake and eat it too. You know, you knew what you were into wasn't great, but you can't still use that vibration for your own benefit and then still talk shit about it, you know, or still like, you know, even with the Hierophant in regards to, like, say, religion, you know, where maybe somebody was like a devout Christian or something like that, and they found issue with the organization of religion in some way. They found it to be constricting or, misguided or whatever the case may be. Like it didn't align with their values anymore. But then you go start an organization that does the same thing, that's restrictive and obstructive to people's growth potential and power potential, but just has a different name. Like you worship on Saturdays and not Sundays, and it's like the same type of thing, like the same obligation and expectations on the people, like you're lording over them in some other regard, like maybe perhaps even like back to the puppet and puppeteer energy, like you're making them feel like they're getting a more free experience with what you have to offer, but in actuality you're just kind of mind controlling them as well, especially with the Five of Swords here. You're not giving them the whole truth because you're not being the whole truth. You're not telling them about how you came from a dark place in space and how, the things that you were into. Instead, you're like, matter of fact, it's like, I hear it even deeper than that. It's like a preacher who, damn, that's even worse. I don't know if I want to say that, but it's like a preacher who talks about dark energies, like dark craft, like witchcraft, and maybe even thinks tarot is witchcraft and divination and things of that sort, and anything outside of Jesus Christ, the Bible, and church at least once a week is demonic. But in actuality, he's actually doing very dark things under the surface that nobody knows about. Like the very thing that he's preaching about is the thing that he subscribes to, maybe perhaps even worships or surrenders to in some regard. Like that's the energy it's giving me here, which is on a whole nother level than somebody that just wants to release themselves from an organization. That's even deeper. Why am I getting that? Hold on one second. Yeah. And because I'm getting is that because he doesn't like being the bottom man, like his obsession really is about being the one in control. So he doesn't, maybe once he realized that he wasn't actually the one pulling the strings, that's what really compelled him to release himself or find a way out. But he ultimately wants to be the one pulling the strings. So he's taking all the intel of what perhaps didn't work for him in the other organization and flipping it to use it so that he can be the man in control. So it's not so much that he's even interested, because this is like a whole nother establishment and it's starting off small because that's what he wants to create. So it's not even so much that he wants to completely change the game and really like shift the paradigm. He just wants to be the man on the top of the pyramid, is what I'm hearing. Yeah, bruh, that ain't happening. Because it's all falling down at this rate, and instead of taking the hint, literally taking that cup of spirit, like, yo, if you look, wow, if you really want to make some ish shake, yeah, you should come over here where the spirit really is real. You know what I mean? It's like spirit trying to bail them out from here. Drop all them burdens, leave that crap alone, come over here, where you can truly be yourself, rest, rejuvenate. I'll build you back up for victory and success for real. Now, you might take a little bit of a loss or you might lose from what you gained on the other side, but you'll ultimately find your way to the truth of your divine existence. But he didn't want that. I think I'm going to call it quits here after these two. Yeah, he had the opportunity, or he has the opportunity to cross over into peaceful, more calmer waters, but he's still holding on, possessed by the ideal of this power dynamic. Like that's what he's still chained to. This ideal, I say, emphasis on ideal, because it's not real. The position where he wasn't real holistically. What he's trying to morph himself into by way of this new Lord of Light, or whatever the hell he wants to call. Literally, that's what I'm getting, a Lord of Light that he wants to call it, is not real because it's not founded on pure spirit. And the promise by which he thinks it's like he's moving in from one puppet show to the next, because the arms, the master that he's moving into now is of a much lower vibration than anything in the physical form. Like if he thought he was answering to some higher force or source by way of these earthly positions of power, because that's what the Hierophant represents. This is someone in a physical form that has been exalted to some position of power or authority, or maybe even perhaps ordained himself or been ordained by the people in some regard, whomever the people are that subscribe to his power, or what do you call it, like confirm it or affirm it. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be spiritually ordained, from a spiritual source essence. And it's already been shown and expressed here that it's really not, especially with the connection to this moon card. So it's like he was in one dark space and time. He was given an exit, perhaps quite a few exits at this point, and even given a glimpse of the promise that he could still be entitled to with a little bit of work. The hermit is not afraid to work. They go within, not afraid to be alone. And I think that's the issue where he keeps defeating himself, is that he has no faith and trust in his own identity at this point. He's been so used to moving in tandem with other entities, with other organizations, with other energies, or even, as sometimes I see it with the Knight of Cups, by way of siphoning other energies, not moving on energy that's not even original to him, that he's been harvesting in one way, shape, or form, that is terrifying for him to actually move in his own capacity. So that's why he's trying to create this experience again, because he sees the value in it. He sees the reward and return that it can have, especially when you're at the top of the pyramid. And now that he's pretty much absorbed all the secrets and the know-how, he wants to create it literally, this facade of a lover's card with this energy that this is for you. Like, we're maybe even with a partner is what I'm seeing here, with a partner, to give this energy as if we are, some divine leaders, or, some affluent religious leaders or spiritual leaders that are helping, maybe even flipping the story, trying to use the story of their come from now, which is smart. Let me give it to you. I have suggested this before, but it has to be authentic, though. For you to use your story of coming from a place of damnation as a platform, ultimately, like you've been delivered from the wiles of the darkness, you've been delivered, right? So you say, and that you're creating that, oh, this is good. So they're creating that as the platform by which they create this new establishment, like whistleblowers in a sense, spiritual whistleblowers in some regard, where they're sharing their experience of coming from the darkness and how and what they saw. How people be so-called, and that's why the industry was coming up, so-called, what do they say? Exposing the industry, when people come on and they start telling all their little dirty secrets about what they saw at parties and this and that, but they ain't never going to tell you what they was doing at the parties, you know what I mean, or what they saw people do strange for some change, but they ain't necessarily going to tell you everything they did strange for some change. That's this energy here. That's this energy. Y'all funny. So basically they're using their dark experiences to run game on the people yet again, but it's like the biggest mind fuck and manipulation, because they're not really delivered. They're just presenting themselves to be some delivered, redeemed human beings that saw the darkest depths of the dark side, and have been resurrected to tell the story and give their testimony and bring other people out of the darkness and show them the light, and hallelujah type of vibes. But in actuality, they just know it's a good hustle. They know that that's the best way, which is why they keep running into trouble. And that's why the big boss is mad. Like, how you going to act like you not down for the get down, and you going to expose everything that you going to expose everything that's going on over here, but you're not really telling the full story. And that's what this Ace of Swords is. This is that divine exposure, truth and clarity from a divine source that really is going to shed light on what's going on down here. This attachment to demonic energies and how they're trying to literally get over. This is giving me not crossover vibes. This is giving me get over on the truth of their own existence, and perhaps get over. And that's why I'm saying it's like the puppeteer, the puppet becoming the puppeteer, and so forth and so on, back and forth, because he realized he was the puppet, and then he realized the hustle, the reward in that hustle, so he wanted to become the puppeteer. But the way that he's doing it is just as diabolical, if not more so, because at least this was an agreement, this was an organization, some established order, like there was loyalty here in some regard, if there can be loyalty among thieves. There was some creed that everyone was committed to here. They trying to overturn the system that they were contributing to, helping creating in some regard, and now literally use it, shout out to Dolo, as a bitch, Dolo the pilot man, as their own bitch, as a means to create some new platform of a facade to say that this is what we escaped and this is how you can do it too, and these are the secrets that we know, because they know that type of darkness sells, and it's intriguing and people would want to know, which is why I said great idea. It is true, and I suggested it, so of course I think it's genius, for sure. It's genius. However, you can't get over on the spirit, and that's why the Hermit card flipped over and flipped back, flipped out but flipped over, because the spirit is not for that. You can get over on some people, you can get over on the public, on the masses, and on the sheep, but you can't fool the spirit. You either are truly changed and about this spiritual life, or you're not. And if you're not, then that's what's going to ultimately be your supreme demise. And that's why it came down to the Hierophant. What I said when I had to pause, like, why am I saying that? Because it just got deeper for me, like a preacher that's projecting himself to be a good man, but in the background, he really is a demon. You know what I mean? And which we know that preachers be getting exposed for their sideline taboo behaviors and such like that. But I'm not talking about somebody that, likes men, but preaching anti-homosexuality, or somebody that likes a good drink, but preaching about being pure before the Lord. That's different. That's preachers holding themselves to a standard, confining their own selves to a standard that they can't commit to. There's a different grace for that. And ultimately that exposure comes with people just really, if they receive it or not, being free to live their truth, their real truth, so that they can actually get, and the light is where you can actually get to the divine nature of who you are. You can't do it hiding under the moon, hiding under the shadow of yourself, afraid to even face your own shadow for that regard, presenting yourself to be upright, upstanding, a divine being, every woman's dream, when in actuality you're a nightmare, literally a nightmare of the worst kind. It's terrible. It's terrible. And so now it all makes sense. Thank you, Spirit, for bringing that to light. So beware of false prophets out there that are so-called presenting themselves as whistleblowers or exposers of the darkness, shedding light. And I said some type of Lord of Light is what I heard. Number one, it's not even going to go over, like, it's time's up for this what do you call it, deception anyway. So it's not going to go over the way that it's intended to, which is probably the disappointment here in some regard, and also the reason for there always being some feet to meet every time they get a little bit ahead, because the spirit is not endorsing that. The purest spirit, the supreme source of all, is not going to endorse you building an establishment on lies in some other form, even if it so-called appears to be, because I feel like they're seeing it as, well, we are saving souls, we are exposing the darkness, we are shedding life, and shedding some truth to life, or some light to truth, or whatever. And perhaps it does maybe shift some perspectives or turn some people away from wickedness in ways that they didn't even know they perhaps were exposed to or vulnerable to. Perhaps, but it matters the soul of the man, the depth of the heart of the man. You can't be no false prophet or fake preacher out here really being a dark practitioner in the basement, under the surface, on the weekends, on the sidelines. That energy you can't use the two for your own benefit. There's no grace for that whatsoever. And what's going to happen is that it's going to journey you into a space that you can't come back from it, because that's like the biggest blasphemy, I would say. I'm not talking about, again, the preachers that they fall short to their own selves. I'm talking about those that know for a fact that they're leading people to the slaughter, and they're doing it religiously. They know that they're selling destruction to the people, because there's something like they might even be doing magic over the congregation or whomever it is, that there's some way that there's this exchange, like I said, this siphoning of energy, of spiritual energy that's happening, that's way worse than those that were in an order of agreement amongst themselves to do whatever they do. Now that's one thing, and that's getting dismantled too, for sure. But there was agreement there to be in order, to be contributing to that force. When you're doing this on people that are completely unaware, and they actually are looking to you for some healing, some guidance, thinking that they're being ushered into the light, or being ushered into some redemptive space of sorts, they're being covered by you. Like you playing a dangerous game. Queen of Cups here, and and this, and that's what I'm getting. This is the feminine energy that's a part of this, and she's been this is the true puppeteer here. Whomever this partnership, remember how I said this is so good, and look at the blue in this card and the blue curtain here, the cup energy. This is the one missing from the 10, which would make the scene complete, right? Full and complete at 10. This is the one who's really pulling the strings, who's the mastermind, whomever he's partnered with, because like I said, it's like he's the front man of the show, but there's some energy behind that curtain that's ultimately going to be exposed. And then here we have the partnership vibes here, where once upon a time there was a partnership that was subservient perhaps to this organization. Even this energy to me always gives feminine vibes personally, but that's just how I see it. And by definition, it is a masculine energy in the Six of Wands. But then you have the Lovers card here. This is the projection of this divine couple, this divine union, and this facade, as I always say, this creative couple for public persona purposes, that everything is awesome and they're doing great, and they have a great story to tell, and they put on a good face for the public for presentation purposes, ultimately, for anybody that's watching, but the spirit ain't ordaining it, because it already was flip-flopping on them, because they're flip-floppers. This is the true nature of them at the depths of it, trying to get over on unsuspecting energies, unsuspecting people with these diabolical tactics, and this is the one who's really pulling the strings. He's little does he really know, he's the puppet on her string. She's the puppeteer. That's crazy. With the Queen of Cups, this is someone that could be intuitive, but she probably uses her gifts for, like I said, for diabolical purposes, you know, or she presents herself. There's that too, because I'm getting this energy here now. That she presents herself to have some type of spiritual anointing or gifts, not only just to the public, but even unto this partnership. But in actuality, she's just the Nine of Pentacles, just a single gal looking to collect coin, which is ultimately, look at this here, the partner to, it's the female counterpart to the the Nine of Cups. That's what the, I'm gonna put you up here because that's where you deserve to be. And the Queen of Cups energy, get this, is Cancer energy, which is also represented in the Moon card. So she's presented herself to be, now he ain't a king on here, but he is presenting himself to, or at least trying to shapeshift himself into being the Hierophant. It seems like it's really just, like I said, a shapeshift and him ultimately doppelganging someone else. And that's what she's doing too. Doppelganging a real spiritual divine queen as a Queen of Cups. Basically copying, mocking in some way, shape, or form. Make pretend, make belief for presentation purposes, just like he's pretending to be a priest or some high spiritual authority when he's actually not. He may be a warrior at best and someone that knows how to work the system, finesse the system, but he's definitely not a divine leader, not purely so. And he may even have the potential or even had the anointing to be, but that's not how he's that's not the function that he's choosing to operate in wholly, literally wholly and completely. And her being under this deck, or well, being at the bottom, which is really the top, if you see, this is who she's trying to present herself to be, even to him. The reason why they're connected is because they're both putting on a front and a facade to one another, that they're inflating the wind. You hear the wind getting stronger? They've inflated their power and their potential and their power to even one another, that under the surface they both, in the grand scheme of things, really ain't shit. Like nothing really all that ordinary, you know, like not that the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles in the highest vibration are not great cards, because they are. They're absolutely great when they're authentic to their vibration and the frequency that was assigned to them, you know, literally by way of the deck and also by way of the spirit in regards to this reading. The Nine of Pentacles is someone that has material gain to show for her spiritual accomplishments. The Nine of Cups is someone that is spiritually sound and satisfied, and that's why he can sit in the position of authority over his life. He's not ruled by material essence, and she's not ruled by her emotions, the flip-flop of the two, whereas usually the masculine is more materially focused and the feminine is more spiritual, more emotionally focused, right? But they've mastered the polar opposites of themselves in some regard they've mastered the essence of themselves and organically in some regard to have obtained stature and some elevation or what am I trying to say, like have attained some accomplishment, or what's the right word though? It's not accomplishment, but it's like how they're kind of both on a pedestal in a sense. You know, like they've established themselves by their own regard, not by societal standards, independently so. Both is what they both represent. They've independently established their value by way of just being organic and natural in their own essence, in their own divine essence. Again, not from an external point of view or projection, but by way of what's been given, the resources and the gifting that they have obtained naturally. That is the dark side of this is that that's not true for these individuals and this energy. They present themselves to have been that. She presents herself to have gained material essence from her spiritual gifts. And he presents himself to be some highly exalted spiritualist that, you know, has, and the reason why he's well off in his material essence is because of his intuitive intelligence. You know, like they present themselves to have powers that they really don't have, that really comes by way of manipulating energy, not manifesting as much as manipulation. But this is the front, because when they're all dressed up in their ornament robes, and, you know, in this essence of divinity and power and prestige by way of the Hierophant, by way of the King of Cups, who is also mystical in her own regard, it gives this, it gives the persona and the facade, it sells the picture that they must know what they're talking about, you know, that they must be ordained, they must be exalted, God must really have his hands on them if they have lived through all of this darkness and have come out of it unscathed, and with all of this essence of prosperity to show for their changed ways. Like they selling it, the hustle is real. It's real. It's real right here. But what's going to happen is there's going to be exposure. If there isn't already. If people aren't already, because people are not dumb anymore. Like we all were a little bit numb to reality before the universe started to evolve in the way that it has, where people are seeing themselves in this divine nature. You know, they're seeing the potential of their own powerful force, that they don't need a middleman. They don't need a priest to absolve them of their sins. They don't even necessarily need a preacher or a pastor to tell them how righteous or unrighteous they are, that you can simply go within, find the truth of who you're being in real time, and call in that change of heart and perspective and mind and spirit that you most divinely aspire to. You can literally heal yourself. And yes, we help each other. We are a mirror unto one another, which is why those that present false reflections and deflections of demonic nature are even more detrimental to the collective consciousness than somebody that is just out here living their best life with no regard for religion, spirituality, or anything of the sort. That person is actually doing less harm than somebody, you know, just living how they choose to live, holistically, organically, in their own right, than somebody that's presenting themselves to be some exalted, ethereal energy, but actually is doing worse than anybody that they're preaching to or ministering to or so-called counseling. That's worse, and that's why it'll be exposed, and that's why there's hell to pay, literally, for those that are using, especially actually possessing divine spiritual gifts to do diabolical things. Oh man, woe unto you, sir, ma'am. Woe unto you is all I got to say. You got to be more careful out here, because it is absolutely time's up for that in every way, shape, and form. I mean, if you couldn't take the hint from the preachers getting exposed, and that ain't even, like, I know people probably think about that as oh my God, the preacher's sleeping with a man, the preacher got a baby over here. But first of all, these preachers been doing that for years. It's just now being exposed for what it is. That's just men being men, but trying to hold themselves to a standard that not even God has asked them to do. So they ultimately catch themselves in their own entanglement. The devil just uses that energy as a projection to make you feel like, you know, to make a greater impact of dissension between those that idolize righteousness or religion or spirituality in some particular light that's not even ideal for anyone. And for those that are shepherding in that way, then yes, they are eventually going to be exposed for who they are, because that's just the divine order of justice as it is, that you must walk in truth and light no matter what. It just so happens that they are on a platform and get exposed. And like I said, the demonic force can use that as a weapon against the people that think that they actually looking at, the takedown of a righteous man, when they really just looking at themselves in the mirror. What sins are you holding? What sins are you concealing? What habits? And I say sins loosely because it's not so much about it being the persecution of the man for his faults. It's about how do you fall short from the highest vibration of who you could be at your best. That's what it comes down to. It's not idolizing some ascension to a God that you can't even see, or that you don't even truly know in reality with proof exists. It's about first starting with just being the best you that you can be, which is the whole perspective of Jesus in the first place. If you see him clearly, it wasn't to put you down to make you feel like this is what you can never be, or I could never be like Jesus. No, it was to show you the possibilities of how infinite your potential power truly is, that you can be like Jesus. As a matter of fact, he said greater things you will do. But the diabolical force uses these deflections to make you feel like, well, damn, if the preacher is out here doing X, Y, and Z, then I know I ain't shit. So therefore, I could never be worthy of the grace of God or the goodness of God holistically. And so then you go deeper into your shell to conceal the truth of yourself, which is just taking you down, spiraling into yet a deeper rabbit hole till you don't even know the truth of who you are anymore. You're just living a lie, just putting on faces and facades, putting on your church hat and your nice suit and your church shoes every Sunday because that's what you're supposed to do as a good Christian. But what's in your heart though? Is that even what you really want to do? Is that how you even want to praise God? Do you even want to sing on that choir? Do you even want to preach? Do you even want to counsel other people? You probably still need some counseling yourself. Do you even like the people at your church? Like, do you even want to usher? It's like we get into the habit of, the perpetration, I should say, of righteousness. When really, when you get down to the bare, like to the what did I say, to the basics of who you truly are inside, you might find that your expression of love, which is the highest form of worship there is, the highest energy in the universe, comes from a different source and is fueled by a different force than what you've been submitting and, dare I say, surrendering yourself to all this time for the sake of appearances. That sideline, that's the practical sense. Don't even get me started on those that are surrendering for the sake of prosperity. You can't even talk about them, like I said, you can't talk about the preacher unless you searched your heart completely and you're doing everything that you feel your highest spirit, the source that you so-called submit to, is calling you to do. Have you started that business? Have you written that book? Have you even shared your true testimony, the real one? Not the pretty one, but the real one. So no man can truly judge another unless his heart is completely scrubbed pure. And in this world, in this lifetime, it's virtually impossible because there is always going to be something deep, dark in that psyche of yours that may not even be yours. It may be burdens from the past, might not even be yours to carry and yours to claim anymore, but it's there. So as long as that essence of all of us is true, we are all just vessels of vitality being used to just express ourselves as organically and authentically as we know how, to shed light in our own unique way, not by way of the reflection of someone else or deflection of someone else or projection of something else. And just the essence and through the lens that we've been ordained to do so. That's good enough. You're good enough. We're good enough. And grace is sufficient for us all when we're operating in our purest intentions. That doesn't mean you're doing it perfectly. That means that your intentions are pure. You're not looking to harm or hurt anyone with what you're doing, with what you're expressing. You're looking to be truthful with yourself in every regard possible. It doesn't even mean that you have to be, as I've heard it, a spiritual exhibitionist and just bear all to everyone, because maybe it's not everybody's business what you're going through. But if you're not going to be honest with yourself, by God, you're definitely not going to be of use to any creation in the universe. So there it is. So like I said, woe unto you that are presenting yourself to be a light force in this earth, but you're actually operating and shedding darkness. Woe, I say. And for the rest of us, keep on doing what you do in the best way that you possibly can, without any judgment on yourself or for anyone else. Give yourself grace for those so-called mistakes you've made and the ones that you still may make, and see it in the light of life experience more than you see it as a fault. Because if you're operating in the best intentions, literally answering to that lover's vibration in your soul, then everything is just par for the course. It's just a step along your path. And if you've learned from it, then you've gained from it. The only way you can possibly lose or falter or backslide is if you've refused to see the light of that experience for what it truly is and what it means to you, and how it can progress you forward in a more powerful way and ascend you higher into new plateaus in your personal, spiritual, and human experience. All right, so that's that. Great message, very powerful, I think. I was not expecting anything of this sort, but I hope you found value in it, or at least intrigue, if nothing else. And until next time, peace.